Antibiotic susceptibilities virtual lab lesson. Setup. Lawn of growth. Resulting in Etest. Here we have an example of an Etest that's ready to read. So we can see that the lawn of growth is present. We also have a zone of inhibition. So the first thing that we want to do is write down the organism that's been isolated and the site. So for this culture or isolate, Staphylococcus aureus, and the site that it's been isolated from is a wound. The next piece of information that we're going to gather is the name of the drug. So we see the code CM. So we need to go to our list of abbreviations and find CM. CM is clindamycin. So from here, the next thing we need to do is read the zone. So we want to read at the bottom of the meniscus. So I'd say this is 0.25. Our next task will be to consult the CLSI guidelines to find out what a result of 0.25 means. We need to consult the guidelines to get the interpretation. The CLSI, or Clinical Laboratory Standards Institute, is the organization that provides the zone inhibition and MIC breakpoints. To enter the website, click the link in the demo PowerPoint, enter your email address, and click Login. Choose the M100, and here's our table of contents. First thing we're going to come to are the Group 1 tables. So you're going to see it's broken down by families. So Enterobacterialis, except for Salmonella and Shigella, is in table 1A1. Salmonella and Shigella are in 1A2. Then you have Pseudomonas, Acinetobacter, Burkholderia, and so on. So if we scroll down to 1C, this is where we see Staphylococcus. So click on Staphylococcus because that's the organism we've isolated from the wound in our example. In the Group 1 tables, you find information about the tiers. Tier 1 drugs are recommended drugs, followed by Tier 2, then Tier 3, and then Tier 4. Now let's say we had a question about drugs for Pseudomonas. We can click on table 1B-1, Pseudomonas. Now we can see these are the Tier 1 drugs for Pseudomonas. 2, 3, 4. Let's have another look here. Let's say we had an Enterococcus. We can click on the 1D. That'll take us to the values for Enterococcus. These are the Tier 1 drugs that would be used, best recommendation for Enterococcus. Then second best, third best, fourth. If the isolate comes from a urine, here's some additional options, but only if the organism has been isolated from urine. And that's how you use the group 1 tables. Okay, so our example was about Staphylococcus. So let's get back to that. Here it is. We wanted to know about clindamycin, so that's a Tier 1 drug. Great. Okay, so I can go back to my note. That's Tier 1. And let's see if we need to get to. Now we will move to the Group 2 tables. The Group 2 tables show you the zone of diameter and MIC breakpoints. So we're going to scroll down through here, and we're looking for Staphylococcus. We want a Group 2 table for Staphylococcus. So here it is, Table 2C. Zone diameter and MIC breakpoints for Staphylococcus species. That's what we have in our example. Okay. For the e-test, we'll be looking for breakpoints. If we had Kirby-Bauer disc tests, we'd be looking for zone diameters. We've gone into the Staphylococcus table, and we just need to find now the drug. We're looking for clindamycin, so we got to keep going down the list until we find clindamycin. Here we go. Clindamycin against all Staphylococci, and we're looking for the breakpoints. The breakpoints come generally on the right side of the table. So here we have less than 0.5, so that's going to be our sensitive. Here's our intermediate range, and if the number's greater than or equal to 4, it's resistant. And we can check those if we scroll to the top of the table. Sensitive, intermediate, resistant. These are interpretive MIC breakpoints. The breakpoints go with the e-tests. So we're going to go back down to clindamycin. Anything less than 0.5 is sensitive. So less than 0.5, sensitive. Okay, so information that we have. We have a wound that has Staphylococcus aureus in it. We've tested that isolate against the drug clindamycin, which is a Tier 1 drug. That's a good first choice, top choice. The result is 0.25, and that value tells us that this organism is sensitive to this drug. Do we recommend? Yes. Let's look at a second example. The isolate is Escherichia coli from a urine culture. The drug is meropenem, and the result is 1.0. Now let's look at our CLSI tables. Escherichia coli is in the Enterobacterialis group. The exact table that you need to look at for each question will be provided for you. All you have to do is go to the table as directed. So I'm going to have a look here. Meropenem, it's a Tier 2. That's okay. Then I'm going to go down here to the B set of tables. Okay, so now we're going to go down until we find meropenem. So here's meropenem by itself. Anything less than or equal to 1 is sensitive. Anything around 2 is intermediate. Greater than or equal to 4 is resistant. Get our value, I think, was 1. So we can say it is sensitive. Okay, so do we recommend? It's a tier 2. That's okay. It is sensitive, so I'd say yes, we can recommend it. Next, we're going to look at resulting Kirby-Bauer disc tests. So Kirby-Bauer disc test is going to look similar to this one. We want to make some similar notes. We want to know the name of the organism that's been isolated. This first one here is an Enterobacter from a wound. We have some drugs here. Now we would go to our abbreviation list and look these up. I already know what they are, so I'm going to go ahead and type them in, but I can find them on the abbreviation table that's provided. Now we need to measure. So we click on our ruler. We can move this around. So if it's just the disc and there's no zone, it's automatically 6. This one, I'm going to reset because it moved my lines away. I'm pushing Control Z to reset. Here we go. Now we've got our lines. This one, we want to go right across the diameter. I'm going to say it's 10. This one, 21. And over here, probably 21 again. Okay. So now we can go to our CLSI because we want to know which one's tier 1, tier 2, we need that information. We're going to get directions, exactly which table we need to go to. It's going to say table 1A-1 Enterobacterialis. So we click into that one. Here's our tier drugs. Ampicillin is a tier 1 and piptazo is a tier 1. So let's make some notes. And meropenem tier 2. Meropenem vaporbactam is tier 3. Alright, so we have 2 tier 1 drugs, a tier 2, and a tier 3. Now we'll head over to our B group tables to find our interpretations. So now we're looking for the drugs. Now, ampicillin had absolutely no zone whatsoever. It's obviously resistant. So anything less than 13 is resistant, so this one is resistant. Alright, let's keep going. This is piperacillin by itself, but we have piperacillin tazobactam. So here we have the meropenem vaporbactam, and our value is greater than 18, which means it's sensitive. Piperacillin tazobactam is 10, so that means it's resistant. Meropenem by itself, so intermediate. Tier 1 drugs, amp and piptazo, those were both resistant, so we can't choose our tier 1 drugs. The next thing that we know is we have a tier 2 drug that's intermediate, or we have a tier 3 drug that's sensitive. Now we have to make a judgment call and be able to support our decision if we were to be asked about it.